The MP5 is a gun that's gone through many changes within the past year, but is it still worth using? I sure think so, and in this video, I'm going to break down a super cheap loadout using the MP5. Stick around, and let's get into it. So it's no secret that 9mm ammo is quite often a round that gets hated on quite a bit, but in my opinion, rounds like PST, AP63, and even RIP ammo are all relatively budget friendly, depending on how much you're willing to pay. But I'll talk about that later in the video. Timestamps will be in the description. Anyway, starting in with the actual weapon build. Alright, so we have the stock MP5 here. To begin, let's replace the handguard with the HX5. Alternatively, if you'd like to save another 10,000 or so rubles, you can opt for the TL99 aluminum handguard. However, you will lose roughly 7 ergo points while doing so. Then onto that we'll add the SE5. If you can't afford this, or just simply don't want to buy the SE5, the SI Cobra, which I suggested in my last build breakdown, you can find that in the top right corner, is a great contender as well, and quite a bit cheaper if you don't have access to it. You'll lose 1 recoil point, but you'll gain 1 point of ergo, and honestly this build has such low recoil already that I would say the ergo is more important. Now onto the muzzle. Let's add the 3-lug muzzle adapter. Keep in mind this is the lighter gray option, the darker gray 3-lug won't allow us to add on the muzzle brake. Then onto that adapter we'll add the Noveski muzzle brake. If you'd like to go suppressed instead but you don't want to break the bank, you can use the Rotor 43 suppressor. It only costs around 7k more rubles. Now the suppressor will drop the ergo of the build quite significantly if that is something that you're worried about. Now finally, to add a sight, let's first add the MFI HK sight rail onto the gun, and then we'll pick our choice of optic. If you're not exactly sure which one to use, I'd recommend the EKP8 sight for absolute budget, and if you want what at least is in my opinion the best sight, use the XPS 3-0 holo sight. Without ammo this build would be useless, so let's discuss that next. Like I was mentioning earlier, PST, AP63, and RIP ammo are all really good choices, but some are obviously more budget than others. PST ammo costs around 70 rubles a round, and for 20 pen that's pretty solid. To take it a step up, AP63 ammo costs $8 a round to buy outright from Trader, however you can craft 150 rounds of it at the workbench for around 500 rubles a round. That is still somewhat pricey, especially if you don't have a ton of money to go around, but you'll get 30 pen rather than 20. Now for an in-between round. RIP ammo can be bought for anywhere between 200 and 1000 rubles a round, as it is found exclusively on the flea market, at least as far as I know, but please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. If you can get this round for under 500 rubles a round, I would definitely suggest using it. It has 102 damage, meaning some insanely quick kill times for both leg and arm shots, and of course face shots assuming they don't have a face shield. Overall, I'd say that if you can afford it, AP63 ammo is the best choice, but PST is absolutely hands down the winner for pure budget. And as much as people hate on it, I find it works really well, even when I'm aiming for just legs. And that's the weapon build. Now let's move on to the actual loadout. So when it comes to armor, like most of my budget loadout videos, really the only real budget friendly options are going to be armored rigs. For this video, I've chosen to pick the Ana M2 rig. Unlike the Rat rig, which I tend to suggest quite a bit, this rig has 5 more mag slots and has overall better stats than the Rat rig. As for price, you can purchase this rig as a barter from Ragman for 3 Colpack face shields and 3 round frame glasses, which I've found for as cheap as 10k each. However, unfortunately they do occasionally surpass 15k depending on when you buy them. I actually got a really great comment on another video from Will Boyd, who said that you can buy the actual Colpack helmet with the face shield on them, and they're typically a lot cheaper than buying the face shields outright. So that is a great money saver right there if you're really money conscious. Moving on to the helmet of choice. If you're someone who wants or needs to save as much money as possible, you can get away with using no helmet. I know some people do follow the train of thought where helmets are generally useless since most players are using high pen rounds, so that is definitely an option. But if you want to use a helmet, which I do recommend by the way, I'd suggest using the 6P47 Ratnik helmet. For 2 bleaches off the flea market for around 10k each on average, you can purchase this helmet, and it has all around great stats. As for headphones, like in my past loadout breakdowns, I really can't suggest these for you, as you may not like what I do. I personally use Comtacs, however GSSH headphones are going to be the cheapest options. You'll unfortunately just have to experiment to find which one you like if you haven't already made that choice. So that brings us to the end. If you'd like to watch another budget loadout breakdown, check out this one on screen right now. Or how about this video about making 2 times more money in your rates? I really appreciate you watching to the end of the video. And hey, if you haven't already subscribed, it would mean a ton if you did. Thanks again, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.